Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to season 2 of the Niqabi Diaries podcast, a platform dedicated to sharing the stories of the women behind the veil. This season, we will be speaking to more Muslim women from all walks of life as we continue to discuss their deep and intimate reasons for wearing the niqab. The Niqabi Diaries, our experiences, our perspectives, our voices. I'm your host, Samar, and thank you for listening. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sister. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm doing well, thank you.
Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair, sister, for joining us today on the Niqabi Diaries. Sister, could you please introduce yourself for the listeners and tell us a little bit about what you do, inshallah?
Okay, my name is Karima Muhammad. I am the managing partner at the Karima Muhammad firm, which is a mediation and paralegal service that we offer. I'm located in the state of Georgia. Um, yeah.
Mediation and paralegal service, mashallah.
Yes, I'm also studying to go to law school, become an attorney, a trial attorney.
Mubarak, mashallah. Okay, so
Inshallah.
sister, could you tell us a little bit about your Islamic background and how you started to wear the niqab?
Well, I'm born Muslim. I started wearing the niqab 1976. I'm aging myself. 1976. I was born in New York, and it was easier to wear the niqab in the 70s somewhat.
Okay. So would you say that, like, what's your reasons for that? Do you think it was Islam, like, how was Islam perceived in those times?
Well, as a little girl, I would see the older sisters walking around, with their niqabs on in groups, all black with niqab, and they seem so graceful, so majestic. It's almost as though they were floating as a child. I'm talking my mind as a child. When I uh, grew older and became a woman, I wanted to emulate those sisters who I thought were foremost religious. They were respectful. There was just something about them that I wanted. And once I put the niqab on, it made me feel as though I was closer to Allah by wearing it, because it was a constant reminder of who I am.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So when you used to see those other sisters, as a child, when you used to see other sisters wearing the niqab, did you ever, like, at any point, like when you was, for example, after childhood, when you got to your teen age, for example, did you ever feel kind of apprehensive about wearing it, because did you feel that it would be something that would hinder you from achieving, any success in your life or your personal ambitions?
No, I never felt that as a teenager or young woman, that the niqab would be a hindrance to me. I grew up in an area where there was predominantly Muslim and immigrant area, so it was natural to put on a niqab. However, when I uh, moved to another location in New York where there wasn't as much presence, I did notice some issues with some people in the area with my niqab.
Okay, what kind of issues?
Well, this was during the conflict with Iran, and the this was back in Staten Island. I lived in Staten Island for a while, and I remember one day I was waiting on the bus, um, and there was a truck traveling towards me, and some guys in the back of the truck uh, threw cans at me and
Oh no.
told me to go back to my country.
So completely.
um, I was born in the United States, so I thought that was quite odd, but that was during the Iranian conflict, the hostage situation.
Mm.
So
What,
that's
what
when
do
I
you
started
remember what
seeing.
year that was?
That was I cannot. It was in the 70s,
Okay,
late 70s.
okay.
Um I can't remember, but it was the first hostage situation
Um,
when Iranians had taken some American hostages for months, months and months. So I felt the brunt of that. I started to feel that Islamophobia. That was my first experience with Islamophobia.
mm,
Uh, it sounds like a neurosis, but yeah.
subhanallah. So was there a lot of experiences like that for other sisters at that time?
It started to escalate a little bit because I wasn't in a neighborhood. I moved out to Staten Island, which was not the residents there wasn't used to seeing someone like me.
Right, okay.
And some people were nice and a lot of people weren't. So, but I stayed there for a while and then I eventually moved out of the area. Um, I moved down south, and once I moved down south, I moved to Florida. Florida was unbearable. Um,
Why?
the Islamic phobia was very rampant there.
Mm,
Um, it was just really hard for a Muslim to travel by herself.
mhm.
And I mean, simple thing like going to the store was hard. Um, I lived in South Carolina for a while. There was a point that I was afraid to go to the store. Um, this was post 9/11.
Right, okay.
Yes, by this time. So it was very hard for me to go to the store. It was hard for me. I used to mediate at the magistrate court, so it was difficult for me to want to leave home to go down to the courthouse to provide services because of the way I look. um, yeah, it's really hard.
Oh, wow. So, what about your family situation? Like, how old was you actually when you started to wear the niqab?
I was 18.
18. Okay, alhamdulillah. And it was something normal in your family because you're from a Muslim family. So that was okay? Like, or was there any kind of
Well,
kind
I wouldn't say Muslim family. There were some people in my family that were Muslim. There were some that were, I had an uncle that was Jewish.
of,
So Christian, there was like, the family represented all the different major religions. Um, I know that my grandmother was concerned about, me covering periods. So, um, she wasn't a Muslim, so she felt my dress was strange.
mm,
um, but for the most part, I got pretty good support from the family for my choices. It is the outside forces that was the issue,
mhm,
and still is.
alhamdulillah. So, can you have you done any traveling abroad or anything like that? Because you mentioned that you was born in New York and you've lived in Florida, is it? And as well, now you're living in Georgia.
Yeah,
I,
I
I don't
haven't.
know anything about America, by the way. I've never been, and I've just heard of
Oh,
names. People know
okay.
where they are. I'm not like the best with this kind of stuff.
Okay. Um, I've never traveled abroad.
Mhm.
Um, that makes me nervous as well, but I haven't traveled abroad. I have traveled within the United States, different states. I tend to travel where I think there is a little bit more acceptance for um, the niqab and for Muslims generally. Here in Georgia, I'm in Stone Mountain, Georgia.
Mm.
The Stone Mountain in Clarkston area of Georgia is heavily populated by Muslims. And a great number of those, the sisterhood is Niqabi.
Alhamdulillah.
We have a lot of shops and plazas and businesses that are here. So it's a little bit more comfortable. The problems it happens when you have to deal with, in my particular field of work, when I'm having to deal with non-Muslims or non-covering people.
Yeah.
That's uh, that's when my problems start.
Okay, so can you talk a little bit about that if you don't mind?
Uh, okay. As I stated, I'm a paralegal and a mediator. I'm also a student. I'm
Mhm.
studying um, law, what I call reading the law. And I volunteer for different pro bono programs that are not non-Muslim based, non-religious based.
Mhm.
And it's okay as long as I'm willing to volunteer. When it comes to actually being offered a job, um, that's difficult
Mm.
for them. I actually worked at one law firm that asked me to go. We were in a meeting and they asked me to leave the room because a client was coming and they didn't want the client to see what I looked like.
Oh no, no. That's a bit
And
discriminatory though, isn't it?
hmm,
That's quite discriminatory.
yes, it was, and I knew it was. And then one of the managers was like, "No, we're not in the habit of hiding employees." And
Mm.
that person that made the statement apologized. But that to me showed me that the profession that I am in, um, it's difficult
Yeah.
for them. So I mean, I stayed with the law firm for a long time. That was the only incident that really caused me pause about their intentions. But it turns out that particular client wanted to see me
Right.
and they wanted to thank me for working with them.
Mm.
So, as far as continuing with the work, the paralegal work with different firms here in the state, I come across a lot of no's um, because they don't know what to do with me. I went on an interview one time at another law firm and I asked the law firm, the interviewer, so where do you think I would fit in here? And she was like, I really don't know.
Oh, no,
I don't know where you're gonna fit in. I mean, you can do the work, but I think she was apprehensive because of the way I look.
no. Mm.
And so, of course, I didn't get that job. I started my own firm because of the difficulty of Muslim women getting in these positions. Now,
Mm.
there are Muslim attorneys here in Georgia. There's several Muslim male and female attorneys. However, they don't have, they have limited openings at their firm.
Yeah, I get that.
So,
Yeah,
they can't accommodate everyone.
of course.
So, that's why I haven't been taken on by them. Occasionally, I do freelance work. That's fine. Um, I actually started a online program that provides training for sisters that want to work home because they having issues working outside the house because in their cob or they cover. So I started a program for those sisters, and we'll see how
Mashallah.
that works.
Yeah, no, that
Alhamdulillah.
sounds amazing. So you've taken the initiative to basically start something yourself and helping others as well, like even to get in the same profession.
But either to get in that profession or to, I provide I have a library of soft skills where sisters can log in and take a course. They'll get a certificate of completion and they can apply those skills to whatever road it takes them. I also have a online store called Nahanan, which is like us and we that caters to the Muslim businesses in the area that, for whatever reason, do not have internet presence.
Hmm.
And basically, they list their products and services, their halal products and services, and we trade with each other. I believe that the community needs something like that to help it
Definitely.
stay uh, stable.
Hmm.
Uh, I can't tell you how many times I visit the masjid and they're trying to collect money just to keep the doors open.
Yeah, subhanallah.
Yeah, and that's because the community, the members are not working. They're poor, so they can only give us so much. So I'm thinking that I can use my experience and my skills to create a platform for Muslims to train and to become entrepreneurs. And not everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, they just want to work. But a venues for people to create jobs.
Yeah,
So that's why I started the school and the online store.
alhamdulillah, mashallah, that's amazing. So, sister, you mentioned obviously that the issue that you had in your when in your workplace as a paralegal, that from the other employee. But would you say as well, like, that you feel that sisters who wear the hijab get treated differently from sisters who wear the niqab? And especially in respect to where you're working and the kind of profession that you're in, do you feel that wearing the hijab is still accepted there, but the niqab is just a bit too much for them? Like, what's your perspective on that?
I believe that the niqab is just too much based on some of the negative publicities Muslims get from happenings overseas.
Hmm.
The hijabis, depending on how it's worn, is more accepted. Um, if you have a sister that wears a hijab that's, pretty full and long, flowy hijab, then some people think that's a little too much. Uh, then you have the hijabi that basically wears a, little scarf or a shawl, wrap it around their head, and uh, westernized clothes, trousers, or whatever. They're a little bit more accepted because it looks like they're trying to assimilate
Hmm.
with the workforce. Um, but I'm pretty sure that um, they're just doing whatever they have to do to survive.
Yeah, of course.
Yes. So recently I decided that um, I will, in a professional setting, I would not wear my niqab, um, because of course I have to survive as well.
Mhm.
But it makes me feel insecure about um, just being around people
Mm,
because I'm second guessing of what they're thinking. Um, I'm so much more comfortable in my niqab. I mean, it's like a piece of my skin.
mm,
And then now and this is a recent decision. When I'm saying professional setting, in a setting where I'm in a legal setting, I have decided not to wear the niqab, which hurts me to my heart, at least until I finish my studies and able to um, create as an attorney, create my own rules on how things are going to be done. But until then, if I'm dependent on the community, I have to fit in some way. Um, just a little bit compromising, which makes me feel like I'm compromising myself as a Muslim.
subhanallah.
But being that there's not enough support systems for Muslim women in the workforce,
Mm,
you got to do what you got to do until there is a system set in place that supports sisters. So that's the big reason why I have started those other programs.
well, may Allah grant you success and make it easy for you, yeah, mean sister. Because really, I can I understand where you're coming from. But I wanted to ask actually that now that you've mentioned in your professional setting and things like that, has COVID not helped in the in the kind of, because a lot of sisters that I've been speaking to recently, they've said that COVID has actually helped them feel that they're more accepted now because of wearing their niqabs, because people are wearing the face masks anyway. So how is your situation different? Could you like explain?
Oh yes, when I'm out and about, um, I wear a niqab, obviously, and due to COVID, everyone is covering. That's correct. However, um, like social profiles in my particular industry of work, you cannot. I mean, most people don't wear a mask for for protection from COVID.
Mm,
So there, like I was doing a profile for a freelance website, and the website refused to take my profile picture until I removed my niqab.
yes, I've had the same experience actually. I had the same experience, yeah. Because I've
Yeah,
noticed with a lot of these freelance websites, you put your picture with niqab, they don't accept it at all.
they won't accept it.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, I'm trying to survive. So that on that level, I removed my niqab.
Mm,
I haven't gone to an office, uh, a legal office or courthouse without niqab
yeah.
because everyone else is covering their face as
Hmm.
well. But when it comes down to like Zoom meetings and things on when I'm present digitally,
Hmm.
I'm having to go without the niqab so they can see who I
Mm,
am. And like I said, a lot of the places where you need to do your profile, they won't accept the profile photo, and I've complained about it,
Mm.
but that's how the system is set up. I have yet to walk into a law firm um, without niqab. Now, I have gone without niqab before at a law firm, but that was for that was like a very short time, and I had some health issues.
Okay.
But I do remember when I put my niqab back on, they weren't comfortable. Um, and they asked me to, if I, they asked me not to wear the bukra.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm not sure they understood what a bukra it was
Okay.
because I just wore overhead jilbab,
Yeah.
and my niqab was flipped up,
Yeah.
you know, and so I don't think they actually know what that was.
Mm.
But that was fine, you know. I wasn't mistreated. It was just, I guess they were worried about their reputation.
Mm.
When other attorneys came into the firm, I got a lot of stares and like, why is she here? And it made me feel like they felt that I didn't belong
Mm.
in the industry. And I still feel that way today. But one of my professors told me that regardless of what I'm experiencing now, once I finish, get my degree, and pass the bar exam, no one can take that away from me,
Yeah, of course.
you know. And I will mess that up, you know. It would be on me if I mess that up, but it won't be someone telling me that I can't do it because I'm a Niqabi,
Mm.
you know. So that's my goal is to do that, and then I know that nothing will stop me from there.
Alhamdulillah. So on that note, sister, would you say that you feel that the niqab is a barrier?
Yes, it is a barrier. As far as the workplace, for me in my industry, it is a barrier because people don't understand it. Even, and we were talking about the contrast between the niqabi and the hijabi.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember a day that I had to go to court to take some papers to court for the attorney I work for. And I wore a overhead jilbab that goes over my head and everything. And I was
Mm-hmm.
all in black. And I had to cross the street to get to the courthouse. And I literally stopped traffic.
SubhanAllah.
And people were driving slow, pointing at me. And then by the time I got to the courthouse doors, there was another lady and a man that was approaching the door at the same time I was. They would not touch that door. They would not approach the door. They stopped in their shoes, and um, I opened the door and let myself in. And then once I got to the checkpoint, where they search you before you go into the court, the guards there was one of the guards started yelling at me and asking me, do I understand why I was there?
SubhanAllah.
And I just looked at him and I said, I'm here to file an arraignment
Okay.
document for the attorney
Mm-hmm.
from the law firm.
Mm-hmm.
And he turned red in the face. He didn't know how to deal with that. He never saw someone dressed like me that represented the legal community in the way. I guess I'm assuming he thought I came there to answer some kind of court case or something. I was some kind of defendant in some kind of criminal action or whatever. But um, it was a strange day.
SubhanAllah. Oh,
That was a strange day. Yeah.
wow, mashallah. So, back talking about more other sisters in the community of Muslims. 'Cause you mentioned a little bit about the masjid and you know how the struggles that other Muslims do experience and things like that. Have you met other sisters who would like to wear the niqab, but due to their circumstances, they're kind of under the pressure of just not wearing it, or they're not allowed to wear it?
I spoke with several sisters that want to wear niqab, and but the biggest thing is they can't work with it.
Mm,
You know, they can't. And most of the sisters that would like to wear the niqab that I spoke to, they said that they cannot wear because of work. Are single sisters.
yeah.
So if they don't work, they can't provide for
Mm,
themselves. I've never spoke with a sister that um, was forced to wear a niqab.
okay.
I only know sisters that want to wear it.
Mm,
Um, I know of her sister whose husband preferred that she did not wear a niqab
mm,
because it made him uncomfortable.
mm,
So you have the little group of Muslims, male and female, that feel uncomfortable with niqabis.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. SubhanAllah. SubhanAllah. So, apart from that incident that you faced off during that time with the issue with Iran and everything, would you say you've faced any other like physical abuse ever for wearing the niqab from anyone?
I haven't, other than the incident where those guys threw cans at me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I was walking down a road and another, this was in the South as well.
Mm,
This truck sped up like it was going to come at me.
mm,
And I guess he was just trying to rile me. But I haven't had anyone touch me.
alhamdulillah.
Um, as far as the way I dress,
Mm,
no.
alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So, what kind of advice would you give to sisters who would like to wear the niqab but they don't feel confident about wearing it?
I would tell them to make istikhara first.
Mm-hmm.
I would tell them to expect the unexpected. And when someone says something or does something um, that is discriminatory to them, just count it as a blessing. Um, because we're strangers. We're
Mm,
supposed to be strangers, you know, and every mean, hateful thing that they say is a blessing.
alhamdulillah. Yeah, subhanAllah, this is something like that's really beautiful what you said, and this is something I always try to personally remember myself. Like when you kind of in these situations where you might, face some kind of animosity from other people, for example, just say Alhamdulillah, because it's, inshallah, it will be a means of reward for you that you've gone through
Yes,
those tests. Alhamdulillah.
yes.
Yeah, subhanAllah. So, what does the niqab mean to you, sister?
The niqab is the my protection. Um, it is my shield from the outside world.
Mm-hmm.
I consider as a Muslim woman, I consider my entire body as private. Um, we're commanded to cover and to cover our beauty. And for the most part, a woman's beauty is her whole body, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm,
um, the face particularly. uh, even the eyes, you know.
Mm.
So my niqab is my shield, my protection, my reminder of who I am and who I serve. It makes me feel closer to the Muslim community and to Allah. Um, it it's a constant reminder if I'm about to say or do something I shouldn't, that I'm being watched. um, and I need to be an example for others. So I enjoy wearing it. I love wearing it. Um, Even though it caused me some hardship sometimes.
Mhm.
And so uh, I think that's the best way I can sum it up. It's my cover, it's my shield, it's my protection,
Alhamdulillah.
it's my reminder.
Alhamdulillah. So, sister, can I ask you about like you obviously you've talked that you mentioned you're a paralegal and stuff, but was you doing a different job before then, or what made you want to get involved in that profession specifically? Was there anything like that kind of?
Well, I was a mediator first.
Mhm.
I was a community activist as well. But I got involved in mediation because I was living in New York, and there was, at this time, it was the um, gang activity was very prevalent. It just started to get prevalent in the neighborhood, drugs, uh, and um, I have many friends who lost their children, Muslim and non-Muslim,
Because of the drugs?
because of the drugs, because of the gang violence,
Oh,
domestic violence. Um, there were several young girls getting into prostitution. I mean, as early as 10 years old.
wow.
This is what was going on. As a community activist, I was constantly called in. I also worked with an organization called PAL, it was a police athletic um, group. And basically, we were trying to help the youth at risk and guide them back into school and so forth. And I just kind of fell into it. And the last, well, next to the last big shooting took place, I just felt helpless. And then I discovered a center that was offering training in mediation. This was back in 88.
Mm.
And so I started getting involved with them. It was not a Muslim organization. I got involved with them, and then I formally trained as a mediator with them. And I started mediating uh, cases in court. And then we took the mediation into the community and tried to mediate between the gang members. And between there was a lot of school fights, so we would mediate those school fights, and there was just so much going on back then. So mediation was my way of uh, helping heal people and having people use their words instead of their fists and guns. And that led on to one to get involved with paralegal.
Mm.
Um, So a law firm took me in and trained me on paralegal. And attorneys there was like, Karima, you need to go to law school. You got a knack for this stuff. You need to go to law school. I was like, really? Yeah. Okay. So I decided to go to the university and formally train as a paralegal. and use that as a track to go to law school and become a trial attorney.
Mhm. SubhanAllah. It's amazing.
Inshallah.
So you're doing really, inshallah khair, and I pray that Allah grant you successes because you're doing a really like serious and well, the work that takes a lot of dedication and it's a lot of effort, and you know, it's for something for the community as well. It's not just, you know, for the sake of, you're doing something that is fulfilling the need of the community. It's really
Yeah.
important, subhanallah.
Mm-hmm.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much for talking to me today. I've really enjoyed listening to you, and mashallah, speaking to somebody of your caliber and experience has been, mashallah, a great privilege. Alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah. Alhamdulillah for allowing me to come on the show. MashaAllah. You're doing great work with this show. MashaAllah.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. It's only possible due to sisters like you who agree to just give me some time, actually. So, alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair.
Welcome.
Assalamu
Welcome.
alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.